Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Bahadash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father Yahweh and my Heavenly Big Brother Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to your apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminoles, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up about the money from America to EU. You know, the money going to shit and they switching over to digital. And hey, when they switch over to digital currency or digital cash, they're going to be a chip for your ass. Yeah, the Market-BIS. I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the scripture my best ability. Say whatever God say through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kuhak, the Dash. Lord, will it be on me? Let's get it.
What's up, guys? Dabu7 back at you here. We have had an absolute bloodbath in the markets today. For those that don't keep up with it and are not paying attention, well, if you've got a 401k, you better be, because they just took a huge hit. We've been watching these hits get bigger and bigger and bigger, and here we are today. You're talking a $1 trillion hit within a couple hours. That's huge. All Trump can do is post something on Truth Social saying he don't understand how the market's going down, that it's gone up for 200 years every time they post strong jobs reports, and that's how it's supposed to work. Well, that's not how it's working. He knows what's going on fully because he was put here and he's on record on video saying it. He was sent to reset this whole thing. And there's a plan. It's called the Mar-a-Lago Accord, and I've warned you about this for months now. Now, Warsh is in there, and Warsh is seasoned and is trained to roll out the Mar-a-Lago Accord. What's the Mar-a-Lago Accord? It has to do with the restructuring of our financial framing in this country. So there's going to be something huge happen. All the people are in place. I've warned you about it thoroughly. The biggest thing,
Well, the props Yahweh Shema Shah have been warning for 40, 30, 20 years about this. It may not be titled the Mar-a-Lago Accord and shit, but they've been telling you about this. The collapse is coming. Financial system collapsing, the money collapsing, and the chip implant coming this way, or on its way.
Probably do is hold your money hostage in a bank where you can't get it and simply say, hey, download this app.
Well, fuck download app. Get this microchip. Get this microchip. Implantable microchip. And you can have some of your money back.
And you can spend your money.
Yeah, you can get some of your money back. You ain't gonna get all of it.
Be a quick fix. It's gonna be easy. They can do it rather fast.
Convenient and safe. And then sudden destruction comes.
On the whole herd and get them right on into a new system. And they don't even see it. It will be on blockchain. It will be a USDT, simply. Something like that, it's already in place. All they're gonna do is hold your money hostage in the bank and then, problem reaction.
Not just that. They ain't just gotta hold your money hostage. They gonna hold that food hostage. They gonna hold that electricity hostage. They gonna hold that water hostage. They gonna hold that comfortability hostage. And people gonna go berserk. Be like, I want comfortability and I want it now. Where can I get it? And then Esau around the corner, he like dangling that chip. He like, hey, you can have comfortability. This your ticket to a soft bed and a pillow and some food in your stomach and some water and a job. Get this chip implant. Shit.
Solution is what they're going to come with because they designed it.
Yeah, primary actual solution. That solution is the chip implant. I got to keep mentioning.
I would expect this. Now, you've got all these flights in the past 24 hours flying into Israel, raising red flags coupled with this huge market dump. I will say this opens up a buy opportunity for silver. Anything else, if the market's pulling back, you got to watch these windows where it presents the opportunity here. We're down to 60s, 50s, anything down from here, I'd be watching for entry. And it's going to be in a crisis or crazy type of situation where the biggest dips come from. Don't forget that the biggest dips applied within the past decade probably came when they announced lockdowns, and the whole scare came with COVID. Every market dipped. Bitcoin went all the way down like $3,000 or $4,000. And anyone that was expecting that, sitting on the sidelines with a bunch of cash, I don't know, like Warren Buffett and everybody right now, they'll be buying it up, scooping it up on the pennies. Can't you see that's what they're doing? That's exactly what they're doing. Buffett's sitting on the sideline with a record hoard of cash. Look, when they're dumping like this and making moves like this, you just witnessed Peter Thiel dip out of the country and go down to Argentina and enroll his kids in the school down there.
Yeah, they ain't the only one. They talking about Kushner and Jared Kushner and that Ivanka Trump. They got islands. They got an Epstein Island-like place. They taking all their assets and they all they sex slaves down there to play with while they in their bunkers and shit. Heck yeah.
Out of America because he knows something's coming.
This video talking about billionaires are fleeing. It was adjacent. Billionaires are fleeing America. Shit.
Coming. Big time. I'd get ready, man. A lot of red flag signs here, but man, when you see $1 trillion dumping out of the market in a couple hours, this is why I warn people, man, don't be caught in a 401k, because when they start this process, it's going to milk it out. You're not going to have much left.
You ain't gonna have none of that at all. They ain't gonna give a fuck about this shit. There ain't no retirement for nobody in this generation. And then I'm guessing he a millennial. I don't know. He probably close to a Gen X or a millennial. But shit, I think he a Gen Xer. But hell, there ain't much of a fucking retirement for a Gen Xer. Definitely not for no millennium or definitely not no, what's the next one? Gen Z or Alpha. Man, goodbye with that. That's why fuck that shit. We need the Lord, man. We don't need no 401k in this world. We need Yahweh Shema Shah to bring the kingdom in. So that'd be our true retirement plan right there. But we still have to work either though. You know what I'm saying? We gotta put these heathen in check while we in the kingdom. So that's still work. But in a way, we still have the bodies and the minds, the godlike bodies to do all that hard work.
That's where things sit. Again, absolute bloodbath in the markets. Trump dumbfounded, doesn't seem to know what the hell's going on, doesn't seem to understand it, but that's stupidity. You know.
And it's funny thing, I remember back when he was running for president the first term, it was him and Hillary Clinton on that damn presidential debate shit. He was the main one talking about we're in a big fat bubble and it's about to burst and all this other shit. And that was like the only time he was, I guess, honest. But he wanted someone we in a big fat bubble, and ever since then, this nigga here made the bubble even worse, especially in his second term. But anyway,
knows exactly what's going on. Join me on the live streams where I've got.
But yeah, it's got to be a bloodbath, and it's gonna lead to that chip implant. Let's get to the next one.
Here's how to go from $300 a month on.
Oh man, get the fuck out of here! That's bullshit.
All right, moving on to more updates from around the world. Now, quiet but significant shift is reshaping global finance. Foreign governments are pulling back from US Treasury bonds, and the numbers tell a striking story. Foreign official ownership of US Treasury securities has fallen to around 13%. That is the lowest level since the 1990s. To understand how dramatic this is, consider this. At the peak of the 2008 financial crisis, foreign governments held nearly 40% of US Treasuries. That share has more than halved since then. Foreign private investors are also stepping back. Their ownership share has dropped to roughly 33%. Again, the lowest since 1990s. But perhaps the most telling signal is coming from Asia. Asia's share of total foreign demand for US Treasuries has fallen by 20 percentage points since 2013. It now stands at just 40%. That's the lowest in at least 15 years. The two biggest drivers, Japan and China. Both nations have been quietly but steadily reducing their treasury holdings for decades. This was a cornerstone of global finance. Asian governments, especially Beijing and Tokyo, recycled their trade surpluses into US government debt. It helped fund America's deficits, it kept US borrowing costs low, and that arrangement is now under visible strain. The question analysts are asking is direct. Is the era of Eastern governments quietly financing US spending coming to an end? There's no single dramatic moment here. No crisis, no announcement, just a slow, steady retreat across years, across governments, and across continents.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And a special thank you to those of you who, after my recent warning about YouTube actually messing with this channel, went ahead and subscribed to Substack and Patreon. I'm so glad that you did. There are 500,000 of us here on YouTube, and I would absolutely hate to lose you all if this channel is purged. So my Substack, by the way, is still very, very small. We've got barely 17,000 subscribers there, and my Patreon is even smaller. So do take a second now to follow the links below and make sure that you have a way to stay connected. Now, let's get back to the topic of this video. For many decades, as you know, the US dollar sat at the very center of the global financial system. Countries accumulated dollars, central banks bought US Treasury bonds, international trade was settled solely in dollars, and America's financial dominance seemed untouchable. But a historic shift has just taken place, according to a new report from the European Central Bank.
I had been a nurse for 27 years. They said, you have to have a bachelor's. The number one benefit for me for going to Chamberlain University.
Gold has now become the largest reserve asset held by central banks worldwide, surpassing both the US Treasuries and the euro. Gold now represents approximately 27% of global official reserves, compared with 22% for US Treasuries and 15% for the euro. This is more than a story about precious metals, of course. This is a story about geopolitics, about sanctions, about debt, and the future of the international monetary system. The European Central Bank's latest analysis reveals a remarkable development. At the end of 2025, gold became the largest component of global official reserves. Not only did it surpass the euro, which it had already overtaken in 2024, but it also moved ahead of US Treasury securities. And I will remind you that US Treasury securities have been viewed as a safe haven asset, as the most trustworthy investment vehicle in the world. Well, that's not the case anymore. Central banks now collectively hold more than 36,000 metric tons of gold, approaching levels last seen during the Bretton Woods era, when currencies were directly linked to gold. What's particularly striking is how quickly this shift occurred. Just a few years ago, gold represented a much smaller share of global reserves. Today, after years of aggressive central bank buying and a massive increase in gold prices, the metal has reclaimed a position that it hasn't held in generations. While the United States dollar remains the dominant reserve currency overall, the composition of reserve assets is changing in ways that would have seemed unimaginable even a decade ago. So why are central banks buying so much gold? The answer begins with uncertainty. Since 2022, central banks have purchased gold at an extraordinary pace. According to the World Gold Council, official institutions accumulated more than 1,000 tons annually for 3 consecutive years before purchases moderated slightly in 2025. Even then, central banks still bought approximately 863 tons of gold last year, which is far above historical averages. Why? Well, first, gold is viewed as protection against geopolitical risk. Unlike treasury bonds or foreign currencies, gold is not someone else's liability. It carries no default risk, and it cannot be frozen by another government. Many analysts trace the acceleration in
That makes that real money. Yeah.
gold purchases.
And one thing about gold, one country can't say, they can't label their gold as the yuan or the dollar and none of that shit. No, it's just gold. Now, you know, you got different types of gold that be like, you got to have that purified, purified gold, but then also they got certain type of gold that's like soft gold and harder gold, whatever. Anyway, I just look at gold as gold. But anyway, that's real money.
To the freezing of Russian foreign reserves after the outbreak of the proxy war in Ukraine in
There's no sanction on none of that shit. You can't put no restriction on gold and shit. Anyway.
2022. The event demonstrated that reserve assets held in foreign jurisdictions could potentially become inaccessible during geopolitical disputes. And so it showed that Western-run institutions cannot and should not be trusted by foreign governments. Now, the second reason is central banks are seeking diversification. The World Gold Council's 2025 survey found that nearly 3/4 of reserve managers expect the share of US dollars in global reserves to decline over the next 5 years while gold's share increases. The third reason is governments are increasingly concerned about long-term debt dynamics in major economies. With global debt levels at record highs and fiscal deficits widening across many advanced economies, reserve managers are looking for assets that are independent of sovereign debt markets. Gold actually fits that description. Now, the big question is this the de-dollarization that everyone has been talking about for several years? Whenever gold rises and dollar holdings fall, the term de-dollarization quickly enters the conversation. But the reality is far more nuanced. The dollar remains the world's dominant reserve currency by a wide margin. Most international trade is still invoiced in dollars,
But it won't be for long.
global commodity markets remain dollar-centric, and dollar-denominated assets continue to account for the largest share of reserve holdings overall. What we're witnessing, however, is not the collapse of the dollar. Instead, it appears to be a gradual diversification away from exclusive dependence
Hold on. What did she say, woman?
for the largest share of reserve holdings overall. What we're witnessing, however, is not the collapse of the dollar. Instead, it appears
Well, it ought to be, because that's what it looked like to me. Shit.
appears to be a gradual diversification away from exclusive dependence on dollar assets.
What? So there's no such thing. Well, anyway.
Even some market participants discussing the ECB report argue that this is less about abandoning the dollar and more about creating a more balanced reserve portfolio in an increasingly uncertain world. In other words, central banks are not necessarily choosing between gold and the dollar. They're choosing to own more of both while reducing concentration risk. That's the bottom line here. That is the key takeaway. And that distinction actually matters. Now, another question would be, who is buying gold? Several countries have been particularly active buyers. According to the World Gold Council,
Poland is number one. Cause whatever the hell you call this, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. I can't. Anyway.
Emerging market central banks have led the recent wave of accumulation. The National Bank of...
No wonder my speaker went out. Shit. Fuck. Hold on 1 second. I gotta pause the video. I gotta put my battery pack onto this speaker to get it charged. What you looking at? Little monkey? Little monkey puppy? Puppy monkey? Pretty monkey?
Line in.
Poland, for example, was the largest purchaser, adding more than 100 tons. Other major buyers in recent years have included China, Turkey, India, Kazakhstan, and Brazil. Many of these countries share a common objective, and their objective is reducing vulnerability to external financial shocks while strengthening the credibility of their national reserves. For emerging economies especially, gold offers something quite unique: an internationally recognized reserve asset that exists outside the control of any single government. Gold's rise to the top of global reserve assets marks one of the most important shifts in international finance in decades. The significance isn't that central banks suddenly discovered gold. It's that they are rediscovering it. After decades dominated by fiat currencies and government bonds, central banks are once again treating gold as a strategic reserve asset for a more fragmented and uncertain world. Whether this trend continues will depend on geopolitics, on inflation, on interest rates, and of course the future of the global economy. But one thing is clear now: the international monetary system is evolving, it is transforming. The dollar remains king as of today, even though it's...
nigga, that shit ain't no goddamn king no more. That shit is about to be trash. Anyway, James chapter 5 verse 1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl, for your measure shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver, and anytime I ask for gold and silver, they talking about the currency they use and named the dollar. God dang it. The dollar is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you. Ye have hopped up. No, I'm skipping stuff. And and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have hopped up treasure for the last days. When them last days, and these devils here are taking all the wealth from the people and claiming it for themselves, and only because, hey, the more you're making the people more poor, the more desperate they're gonna be later on in the future when they when these people be met with that chip implant. Damn, your breath stink. Get on out of here, stinking ass breath, dog. Damn, I can smell that dog breath 3 feet away. Shit, she breathing too damn hard. She like, like she getting old. Her teeth about down there rotted. But anyway. But yeah, these last days and these niggas here are trying to make things hell on you people. That's why we seeking the Lord, man, to strengthen us, giving us strength to endure all this shit. Let's see what this is about.
Finding an affordable health plan can be tough.
Oh my. I outdid myself.
I'm already, I don't know if I'm gonna even play this shit too long. I already got a feeling this nigga be on some bullshit.
okay, I'm not going to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I did outdo myself. I decided to take what I had taught you, and trust me, none of you had this information. I didn't have it. The Federal Accounting Standard Advisory Statement number 56, what we talked about in the last segment, hear me and hear me clearly on this. Just on a lark, I wanted to see if this was like in Canada or the UK or maybe even the European Union or Australia and New Zealand. And I thought maybe this is beyond the United States, just as a guess, because we know all the central banks are tied together. And this is basically something that benefits central banking and the Federal Reserve. The fact that they can steal your money, use it any way they want, and obscure the public records, and basically lie to and do it all in secret. We talked about that in the last segment. I read to you from a summation of the policy that Congress passed to do this. Well, I found it is international. I shouldn't be surprised, and like I said, I just took a wild chance. I'm going to tell you about that after we talk to you about something that I think is really, really important here. And what I'm talking...
Yeah, they're doing it just to put hell on you people, to make you more broker and more desperate, and to lead you to them chip implants, to Market-BIS. Yeah.
Talking to you about here is, I think, the next great investment. And what we're talking about here is uranium. No.
And if they ain't taking your money, which they are, they're going to devalue the shit out of it. So it'll be absolutely worthless. And they'll just say, fuck it, dude. This is the new way of buying and selling. Go digital. We ain't dealing with that paper shit no more.
The last one.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's got germs. People put it in their butt cracks. Come on now. Let's do away with this old ass shit and let's get something new. Some zeros and ones. Where you can't hold on to it, but you can see it you can see it on your phone or computer screen. Have faith in that. Yeah.
Uranium is something you should already be doing, based on what I told you. The next investment craze that the elite are in, and I think it's a can't miss because the elite are jumping this and the government's supporting this, is tungsten. And that goes to our forever wars.
Metal. Yeah. And a lot of that tungsten, they're getting it from China. For their munition and certain, I don't know what else they use it for, primers or what was it? Not primer, I forgot.
So if you're looking for, well, God, what can I do with my money? Well, I'm going to show you. We're talking to you about what Vault Strategic Mining Corp is doing. And fantastic. Their website is Vault.
Oh no, this nigga advertising shit.
International settlements. The BIS for short, take out the I, you really know what they're all about, because they're not honest. So the Bank of International Settlements has...
let me go back, because I don't know. He probably ain't advertising this shit, but I don't know.
I think this is going to pay great return on investment. Well, let's take a look at what I learned just by sheer chance, expanding on the last segment, in something I hadn't planned to do today, and I just said, gee, is it international? And I thought, stupid me, I should have figured this out. The organization called the Bank of International Settlements, the BIS for short, take out the I, you really know what they're all about, because they're not honest. So the Bank of International Settlements has issued a memorandum to all central banks in the world. Remember, the BIS is the central banker's bank, and a lot of the policies flow from there. So, BIS. Banking institutions are free to break the law. Now, that's my paraphrase of what they put out. They got into let's put it this way. The way that rule number 56 that I quoted in the last segment, the way that's set up came right out of the BIS. They use the same exact language. In other words, they can set up secret groups to make secret policies to make money transactions opaque, and you don't have the right to know. And this came right out of the BIS. Now, there's something else that came out of this. I was like, holy crap. This implicates our DOJ, if they're indeed doing what this says and gives them so-called legal protection to do it, it's basically making them a criminal enterprise. I'm in shock over this, but let me just read to you what this is. The BIS went on to say that there can be a return of a margin of profit to any kind of governmental oversight and legal enforcement agency. Well, that would be the Department of Justice in the United States. So here's what we're saying. That the elite who are taking advantage of these opaque new procedures where they can steal, like they've already done $21 trillion, they can keep it from the public's view, they can lie to you about it, and then they pay a kickback to the DOJ so there's no prosecution, or they don't challenge something or file an action with the Supreme Court to declare this to be unconstitutional, which it is. This is absolutely stunning. And I think that you probably should say, whoa. So here's in effect what it can do. Okay, what a game this is. This is awesome for them. They can lose trillions. The citizens can replace the money, and then they rinse and repeat. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, well, how does this apply? Is there a concrete example where this is in play? And I'm glad you asked, because there is. It's called the data centers and the AI revolution. And you're about ready to get a real education on how this applies. This came down as a process of what data centers are going to do with your money, and you don't have a right to know about it. And you can't sue. And the DOJ will get a kickback for going along with it. Again, the law in America, it's entitled Federal Accounting Standard Advisory Statement number 56. They brought it in during the Kavanaugh hearings with all that hullabaloo, right? All the fanfare, his drinking habits and involving a woman and all that nefarious stuff. I don't want to get into the details. But that was a distraction for them to sneak this through under the cover of chaos. This is crazy, people. This is nuts. This is worse than the sheriff of Nottingham. Where's Robin Hood when you need him? And if ever there was a case for a tax rebellion, this is it. This is it. We pay our taxes to do our bridges. And, I look at the money that we're wasting. Okay? Take just 2 trillion of the 21 trillion. Just take 10% of it. Can you imagine if you gave this to the major cities?
No, it's not going to happen. This is Rome all over again, and they don't give a fuck. They're not about to invest in America. And pretty much the Lord's controlling these devils. The Lord's got controlling the hearts of these damn kings, and they're not about to invest. The Lord's not having these devils invest in America, because the Lord's about to destroy this bitch. Anyway.
Bridges get fixed, the roads get paved.
For what? To just be destroyed? Have some nice bridges and nice sewage lines and water lines being fixed and electrical lines being fixed, infrastructure being fixed just to be destroyed by nuclear fire. Yeah.
Right? You're not putting homeless in prison like they are in Utah, preparing to do in Georgia.
Wait a minute, they're putting the homeless in prison? Well, yeah.
Just take 10. Right? You're not putting homeless in prison like that.
Well, wait a minute. Is he saying that the homeless need to go into prison? Is he saying that, like, they should be going to get locked up? Well, I mean, this nigga is a Trumpaholic, so he doesn't, if he's supporting Trump, then yeah, I guess he would really mean that in his heart. They need to lock up homeless people.
The bridges get fixed, the roads get paved, right? You're not putting homeless in prison like they are in Utah, preparing to do in Georgia, spreading to 8 other states as we've covered. You actually provide them with some help. Maybe you're doing drug addiction counseling.
Oh, well, never mind.
You're doing some job training. You're doing something productive with your money to help people, which is what our tax money is supposed to be going for. Not to pad the pockets of people to get rich and to keep you from knowing what they're doing. That's in effect what's going on. But we're going to come back and you are going to be shocked at what I tell you on the application part of this to something that I've been all over. I'm not a data center fan. I'm not an AI advocate. I think limited use of it, no sentience, right? No math.
Fun thing, your boy Trump, he's definitely all down for all that shit. But he don't speak out about that stuff. No. Hold on, I gotta go and do something. Be right back, little bit. I'll pause in that video. Alright, I'm back. Fucking goddamn. I mean, I'm trying to cool myself down. I just got off the phone with this asshole. I just cut his yard. This nigga here bitching about. I cut his yard for $40. He wanted me to cut the backyard because he had put a building back there and they tore the grass up, so there ain't no grass growing for the past 3 months since she put that building up. And then all of a sudden, this nigga here called me up talking about how come you didn't cut the rest of the backyard now because the grass is growing up. Well, you got to come to me and tell me to cut the rest of it and talk money. I ain't gonna cut the shit the same goddamn price. I got to go up on the price. And he gonna say, well, damn, it's only $10. But hold on, bro. Don't you fucking cuss at me, nigga. Don't you fucking cuss at me talking about some damn, it was only $10, having a fucking attitude. Man, fuck, fuck you, nigga. Get your ass on. Keep your fucking money, nigga. And I call him a fucking nigga. That nigga did that shit to me twice. That's the last time I have to deal with this motherfucker. Sorry I have to rant, but I'm just sick and tired of these motherfuckers, man. Man, you want me to lower the price down because there's not much in the backyard to cut. It's all like, okay, cool. But now there's a lot of shit back there. But I'm like, I'm not going to cut that shit until you come to the agreement that you're going to pay me more money for that shit to cut. This nigga ain't come to no agreement about it. He think I'm going to cut the shit for the same goddamn price. This nigga out of his fucking mind. He fell off a goddamn turnip truck, bumped his motherfucking head. Cause I told that motherfucker, you go and get somebody else to cut that shit and you keep the money, you fucking nigga. I can't stand these motherfuckers. These damn Jakes are ridiculous, bruh. And he a fucking dumbass. Anyway, let me get to this video.
That's job replacement.
And I'm like, this same motherfucker that I told his ass a couple years ago that I'm gonna have to go up on the price. This nigga all the time about some, well damn, my yard ain't getting no bigger. No, the yard ain't getting bigger. But guess what? Gas is more expensive. Diesel is more expensive. Cost of living is more expensive. That's what's going up. And now his yard has gotten bigger because he cut some trees back there and cleared some shit out. I'm like, this nigga's retarded. I'm like, this same nigga was talking about some damn, you left grass clippings in my front yard. But he got a little fucking French bulldog that's shitting all in the front yard. Just dropping turds here and there and they just crispy drying up. And he bitching about some clippings in his front yard and he got dog shit in his front. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking nigga. You used to have a bitch living in that house. She was just as retarded too. This bitch talking about some, don't cut the yard when my car is in the driveway. Fuck you, bitch. That same bitch was all about her fucking car. And then sometime later, her car got in a car accident. And she don't live there no more. The nigga kicked her ass out. Anyway, these niggas are ridiculous. I hate this fucking world, bro. I hope I want these motherfuckers to be dead. Fuck these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers don't deserve to breathe air, nigga. They need to die. These niggas need to die. These are proud, dumb motherfuckers. Fuck these motherfuckers.
Because you kill capitalism. If you don't have jobs, you don't have discretionary spending, you don't...
Jake need to fucking go, bro. These niggas are stupid. They need a great reset on life, nigga.
Have an economy. You don't have capitalism.
I don't get tired of your fat ass. I don't want to see this nigga no more. Let's see. What I about to read? I don't know, read. I'm just pissed the fuck off. I hate these motherfuckers and these stupid fucking heathens. Let's get to this one. What this shit got to say?
Today we're looking at a
I
level...
don't give a fuck about no game.
Ursula, EU. What have they done now? Well, bear with me and I'll tell you. This time it's got to do with cash. Kashish. What they done? Well, can't be anything good now, can it? No, it's not. So what have they done? Well, from July, if you would like to purchase anything with cash over 10,000 euros, it's illegal.
Euro Union imposes 10,000 euros cash limit starting, wow, soon it's gonna be less than that.
So, if you wanted to purchase something like
fuck,
a car,
I hate these motherfuckers.
Anything. Think of anything. Yeah. If nowadays you've got over 10,000 euros, that sort of money, because maybe you haven't paid your lecky bill yet, or gone out for your half a basket of food, so you're feeling flush. You want to go when you want to pay cash for something. It's illegal. Yeah. No more for you. And apparently, cash purchases over 3,000 euros require ID. So what's this about? Well, let me ask you a question, which I think is relevant in relation to this. If you wanted to get rid of cash in its entirety, in stages, you can't do it all at once, can you now, Ursula? I'm sure if they could, that's certainly something that they probably looked into it. But it's something that I'm sure they want to phase out. If you wanted to phase cash out, what would you do differently? If eventually you wanted to get rid of cash in its entirety, what would you be doing differently than putting steps like this in play, making it so certainly initially the larger scale purchases with the usage of cash, you'd start with that, wouldn't you? Get rid of that. Hey, why not make it illegal? Yeah, go for it. And then over 3,000 needing ID is just, obviously it's making sure they know who you are. Why? Safe and effectiveness. That's what it's all about. It's always keeping you safe, isn't it? That's what all of this stuff is always about, isn't it? Because the eradication of cash is nothing to do with utter and complete control.
Yeah, it leads to that chip implant. Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed, or their 401k, their anything that's saved digitally, their retirement, 401k, they stocks, all that shit going bye-bye. They can take that shit away. They savings too. And it will say, their gold and their silver shall be not able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. So you won't be able to buy your way out of judgment when that day comes. They shall not satisfy their soul, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. Yeah. Boy, I hate these fucking people. Boy, that shit got me fueled, bro. That shit got me bubbling up, bro. These niggas, yeah, y'all fuck that motherfucking. But they don't have no clue what the fuck is going on. Because I was that same nigga I'm trying to tell him about what's going on. He just a fucking idiot. He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, man, you a fucking dumbass nigga. Shit. I just say, man, get your ass on. I'm sick and tired of these fucking niggas. And that nigga can't even give me hell. He getting cheap with the yard, man, but he ain't gonna get cheap with that electric bill. He ain't gonna get cheap with the mortgage. He ain't gonna get cheap with somebody who doing all that fucking cutting them trees down and shit. No. He wants some custom work done to his vehicles. He got like these old pickup trucks and all this shit. Nice looking cars on some rims and shit. But you want to get cheap with the fucking yard man. Get the fuck out of here, you sorry nigga. Goodness fucking gracious. I fucking hate motherfuckers. Boy, damn, I want this bitch to burn with these motherfuckers in it. Damn, man. I'm telling you, I fucking hate these motherfuckers, man. Sorry, man. I hate these niggas, bro.
Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media.
And I hate you heathens too, nigga.
And the government is gaslighting us about the idea of the release of digital currencies by saying they're not going to be releasing a CBDC. And this is coming under the guise of them saying this, yet obviously shifting towards a digital system while simultaneously announcing the system. You got to see it to understand it, and we have some really interesting clips and examples to bring you today in this video. Of course, we've done a billion videos on CBDCs and in general centralized digital currencies that will control you in the new digital ID system to come. Scott Bessent over at the Treasury did an interesting little speech yesterday, which a lot of people were talking about. Hey, he's saying that he is no longer, or he is not in favor in general of CBDCs. We just did a video with Mark Gonzalez over the new Fed chair Kevin Warsh and how he's also against CBDCs, yet they're pushing digital currencies, which will be an overarching blanket system that will control absolutely everything in your life. And we're going to go into some of these examples today, because we already know this is being developed, and they can't constitutionally do this in the way that I think a lot of people were expecting it to be done, which is how it's being done in other countries. They have to get around constitutional law in the United States, so this is exactly what they're doing. And it is, again, it's gaslighting people into thinking that they're actually fighting the digital system when they're actually building it. Crazy stuff. We're going to go into that and more today, my friends. Before we do, I urge people to check that link below. First National... There's organic long shows. This last one was an hour and 45 minutes, and one before that was very long as well. If you go over there, you will be able, is indeed on Patreon. It's a nuance to what he's saying. I'll get into that in a moment. Here's what he said.
So this administration has been very clear. There will be no central bank digital currency, which I think would be the first step toward tracking. So
notice the first thing he said.
Yeah, tracking.
Said was there won't be any central bank digital currency. Notice the iteration of that, how he says it. I think that says a lot, but here, watch him continue here.
We have taken that off the table. We've passed stablecoin legislation with bipartisan, and the Clarity Act is now up on the Hill. And I think it has bipartisan support. And the most important thing we can do is to make digital assets come into the United States, make the U.S. the home. Our regulation, our best practices are what will ensure good standards for these. When you look at digital assets, all the nonsense that happens, all the things you read about, that's because it's the wild, wild west offshore, so we got to bring it on shore. So I would encourage the House and the Senate to get clarity done.
Oh my goodness. So it's a wild, wild west because it's decentralized, so therefore we need to centralize it, but it won't be a central bank digital currency, so it'll be coming into the fold, under the fold of the Treasury.
But it will be centralized. When will it come under that stablecoin shit?
Treasury and all these things, but they will release it via maybe a digital currency via the Treasury or by a private company to bypass the restrictions on such things by the Constitution. Again, no central bank digital currencies, no central bank digital currencies. This is so blatant, but we will be the king of digital money, and it won't be the Wild West. Okay, vast regulations. How will that look? That will look no different than a central bank digital currency. It's insane. We also have...
And you got these motherfuckers that so... Goodness gracious. They don't even know this shit is going on. But the water Yahweh Shema Shah, all praises to Yahweh Shema Shah for showing us, you believers, But Yahweh Shema Shah, you follow us to your best ability. Give all praise to Yahweh Shema Shah for allowing us to see this and know this was going on. But all you other niggas that act like, you just act like a bunch of assholes and bitches, fuck y'all. Fucking die, motherfucker. But I hope to see y'all in the, being reincarnated in your right mind. But I can't stand these motherfuckers today, bro. I can't stand these motherfuckers today.
Recently reported on the fact that, and the New York Post had reported, and we did a video with Mark on this.
Ungrateful motherfuckers.
Which I urge people to check out, about how they are rolling out AI-powered banks.
God
Augustus
damn,
Bank is one example that was passed conditionally by the OCC, Officer of the Comptroller of the Currency recently, which will be open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. However, they say it's decentralized. No, it isn't. It's utilizing stablecoins. This is how they get around these constitutional laws. So if there's no CBDC, no central bank digital currency, how will they run this? Well, I mean, we have people like Sam Altman pretty openly talking about this. Listen to this.
Fundamentally, our business, and I think the business of every other model provider, is going to look like selling tokens. They may come from bigger or smaller models, which makes them more or less expensive. They may use more or less reasoning, which also makes them more or less expensive. They may be running all the time in the background trying to help you out. They may run only when you need them if you want to pay less. They may work super hard, spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions, someday billions of dollars on a single problem that's really valuable. But we see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. The demand that we
buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. Are people not paying attention?
See for that seems like it's going to continue to just go like this. And if we don't have enough, we either can't sell it, or the price gets really high and it kind of goes to rich people, or society makes a bunch of sort of central planning decisions that I think almost always go badly about, we're going to use our limited compute supply for this and not that. So the best thing to me throughout all the history of capitalism, innovation, whatever you want, is to just flood the market.
Yeah. This was always the plan. Let me get this straight. Sam Altman, we see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water and people buy it from us on a meter. That's a digital ID. I wrote on X at World Alt Media. Please go follow us if you haven't yet already over there. This is exactly the digital ID system I've been warning of, and yet still, people will either pledge themselves to this beast or call me crazy. At best, those that are aware will still do nothing to prepare. Absolutely insane. And that digital algorithm that is also a major incoming part of this digital ID thing. The algorithm, as you can see, I posted this days ago, and it only has 589 views with 35,000 subscribers or followers on X. So again, this is how they do it. They basically cut you out of existence. They cut down what you can or cannot eat. This is a glimpse into the future, my friends. And again, it's going to be through private industry. Now, of course, it's a shadow government doing all this. This has been a plan for a long time. They created the problems to come in with these solutions. But of course, here we are. They say, oh, well, we cannot constitutionally get around this kind of stuff, so therefore the government can't do it, but these private corporations can, that were propped up by the state in the first place with major Pentagon contracts. Don't forget, Sam Altman was part of that $500 billion that Trump gave on his second day in office into AI. Yeah, we're just replacing ourselves. Awesome. Wall Street Mav wrote, Elon Musk is close to launching a new banking and payments platform as part of his plan to transform X into an everything app. A limited rollout of the X Money Finance feature is expected in the coming days. This was back in April, so it's already happening. X has already acquired regulatory approval in dozens of U.S. states and has announced a partnership with Visa last year to support a digital wallet and peer-to-peer payment services. Now, why does that matter so much? I want to hang on that for a second. Visa. Okay, I reported on this at the time. So, we have a great example of something that was never mandated on people. Visa and MasterCard. But also something that if you go to much of the world, many of the big cities, you cannot avoid Visa and MasterCard. It's just like, oh, you don't have a credit card, you can't, buy anything here. And this is a major part of the point I've been trying to make about these digital currencies and digital IDs and social credits and all this kind of stuff. They don't have to mandate it. They can just make it incredibly impossible for you to do basic things in life. Like, I was going to mention it later in the video, but I may as well mention it now. Keir Starmer in the UK. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, had pushed through the mandates for digital IDs to stop mass migration, which I talked with Alex Newman about recently. They created the mass migration in the first place, and then they come in as a solution by spying on everyone with biometrics and all this kind of stuff, and cutting down the food supply, all this crazy stuff. Keir Starmer said, oh, well, you're not mandated to have this digital ID. Of course, the digital ID was going to a private company. Imagine that. Then we've seen this so many times before. He said, you don't have to have it. It's not mandated. It's just that if you don't have it, you won't be able to participate in almost any part of life because everything will be incredibly difficult to do. This is coercion, blatant coercion. But nonetheless, oh well, it's not mandated, so it doesn't break any rules that our government might have in place. They could change it anyway. But this is a great part of manipulating the public into buying into something that otherwise they wouldn't do. When they say, oh well, the government isn't involved in it. This isn't a real free market, my friends. The government's propped up by the corporations are propped up by the government in the first place. They're incorporated with whom? The state. When we consider the fact that Elon Musk has these massive Pentagon contracts, X and X money is owned by XAI.
Right, anyway, this last one.
Mosquitoes, Google, what do they have in common? Well, you don't know, and yet, well, if you've seen some of the latest news regarding that sort of stuff, there appears to be a match there, some reason. I'm sure there's some latest crisis or something to solve. Anyway, something a little bit more in line that you might not be so surprised about when it comes to Google and the technology side of things is something like digital ID, and it appears that Google is getting involved in the digital ID side of things too. And they're about to make it super duper easy, you guys. Yes! Because you know how, like, carrying, like, a bit of ID around with you, driving license, passport, anything really, it's so inconvenient. I've watched some of the state propaganda in regards to walking into a bar and needing to get your ID out, and your card's falling down on the ground. Oh no! And it's not only inconvenient, it's the fact that you could lose your ID on the floor as well. So to make it super convenient, you guys, Google's also getting involved with the getting ID online to the point where you will potentially be able to use your ID online to prove your age. And it's just incredible, you guys. Absolutely incredible, including age checks. Yeah, this all includes age checks as well, which is super convenient as well when you think about it, in preparation for things like, well, let's say, I know lots of other countries have already done it in regards to banning under 16s. The UK has yet to do that, but if they decided to do that in the very near future, then something like this infrastructure of age checks would be very, very convenient as well, wouldn't it? Yeah, along with you not having to pull out your plastic ID, it'll be able to tell exactly who you are, where you are, when you need your ID, all of it. And then when you also combine the infrastructure of things like data centers, and actually if you look into it, I think you'll find that there's probably more data centers in the UK than you probably expected, hence why the conversation's growing, but they kept it pretty quiet up until now, haven't they? So when you combine the infrastructure of data centers, verification, digital IDs, age checks and all of that, digital prison is coming real soon. Ta-ta.
Yup. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, for the vision is yet for the appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And this is part of that Bible prophecy when they crash that currency and they bring in digital currency and roll out that chip implant, the Market-BIS, either go in your right hand or your left hand or in your feet or in your butt cheeks or your titties, big titties, small titties, or your man boobs, and nigga got titties too, and in your brain, because that's what you really want in your brain. But either way it goes, they want control. And this shit ain't gonna tarry, it's coming. And you hear it loud and clear, besides my burping, but you hear it loud and clear that everybody talking about. It's the thing now, that talk of the town. The chip implant, digital currency, all that shit. And it's about to go down. There ain't no other book talking about it. Ain't no book from funky ass Allah and Buddha and all that shit. Them niggas in the Christian church ain't talking about this shit. They probably are now, since they've been hearing the Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, but they ain't hard to talk about nothing. And that same book they holding and say they claim they believe in, these niggas ain't believing shit. They most likely be against what the Lord says in the Bible. Shit. But anyway, God, all I can think, I gotta cool down, boy. I need a punching bag, boy. I need to get some punching gloves, punch bag. I don't know nothing about boxing, but I need to punch something. Boy, I'm sick tired of these motherfucking niggas. Fuck these motherfuckers. I mean, shit. Oh, that damn nuclear fire. Fuck these motherfuckers up, bro. Or whatever get fucked up during Jacob trouble. I can't stand these motherfuckers. Anyway, Chip is coming. And everything else the Lord's gonna do, you pray, the Lord be with you. Because it's about to go down, bro. But anyway, seek Yahweh Shema Shah by seeking his prophets and take heed to what it say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah. By praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shemawashah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shemawashah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shemawashah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shemawashah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order Yahweh Shemawashah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect and all praise to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Shalom.